Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Huge video today, one that's been asked for many times, heater crossover. We're going to be showing you the tips and tricks and how-tos on changing out your heater crossover. A heater crossover is a duct that goes from your furnace over to the other half of your house. So it's only really relevant on a double wide or a triple wide manufactured home. This ductwork is kind of a highway of heat from your heater to the other side. When you have two halves of the houses that are bolted together, you got to get the heat to one side or the other. So there's usually a duct underneath your house. If it's installed correctly, like you'll see at the end of this video, should be strapped up off the ground, and it needs to be an R8 is current code today. Older ones would be like an R4. So today's insulated value is double what it started with way back in the day. It could be a hard duct also, but typically here in the Pacific Northwest is going to be a flexible duct. Sometimes you have to route it and whatnot. So we're going to go over all the supplies that I got laid out here. Then we're going to get underneath and do the not so fun job of changing your heater crossover, and I'll show you how to do that step by step. So let's see what we got here. First is going to be an R8 25-foot flexible heater crossover. This is a 10-inch. They come in two sizes really, a 10-inch or a 12-inch. Older ones are more 10-inch, newer ones are 12-inch. When you get into triple wides, you could have a 14-inch that then spreads out to 12 inches or whatnot. So there are different sizes, but most typical is going to be a 10-inch or a 12-inch. You can find those on our website, kits@mobilehomeoutfitters.com. Also, we got a power cord ran out here because we're going to have an extra light today so that we can film. For me personally, I'm going to have, as you can see, a monkey suit, coveralls. You can use a Tyvek suit, whatever. Knee pads, because sometimes you find a sharp rock. You want some gloves, and always have a mask. Then when we get to the tools of the trade here, this is what we're going to need to install it. So mechanical fasteners, going to be some screws, and we'll go over that detail. This is strapping tape, because you're going to need to tie it up. We got metal tape to tape the duct, the inner duct, to the metal of the house. And then we got duct tape as your final layer. Then you need some wire snips. There's magnitude of different styles you can use. And then we got some zip ties for the final finish layer on the outside to help hold the insulated duct up. As for tools, actual tools, just a drill, impact, whatever. Multitude of bits. I'm not sure how it's held up yet, the old one. So I'm going to bring with me a Phillips, a quarter drive, and a 5/16 hex head. These screws that we're going to put in is 5/16. A lot of times I'll find quarter drives down there, so I'm going to bring that with me. The goal is to not crawl in and out 40 times. A couple flashlights. Make sure your batteries are charged. Like I said, you don't want to crawl out 40 times. The main piece to the puzzle here is you need some way to support this flex duct, right? You can't have it going like that. It will obstruct your heat flow. So you want to keep that duct as straight as possible. So what we have is a pressure treated hemlock. It may look different if you're not from the Pacific Northwest, but this is our pressure treated wood. And this is a 2x6 by 12 foot. Your length and size may vary, but this will be what we need for our case here. So now that we got all our stuff laid out, we're gonna get masked up and get going underneath. So stay tuned for step by step on how to change out your heater crossover on your double wide or triple wide manufactured home. All right, we're underneath the house, and as you see, I got my protective gear on. There's some stuff floating in the air, typical under here. This is our heater crossover. As you can see, it goes from the furnace right above us across, and it goes over to the other side over there. And it looks like it's roughly 20 feet. So we're gonna have to cut the new one. We need to remove this heater crossover, but let me teach you a couple things about which one you have before you remove it. You're gonna look for writing on the outside of it. Right here, it tells us what size it is, 10 inch. And the current R value of this older one is a 4.2. We're gonna be putting in an R8, which is gonna give us double insulated value. So when you produce that heat, it stays warmer as it gets to the other side, saving you money. First thing we're gonna do is remove this heater crossover, get it out of our way, and then we can start installing the new one. So let's get to removal. All right, so that was perfect of installation. The only thing they didn't use is any fasteners. Sometimes you find them, sometimes you don't, but that's typical of how a heater crossover is installed. And as you see, it took a little effort to get it off, even with just those simple steps. I can see up into the bottom of the furnace here. You can see the coils. So when replacing this, you want to make sure that the furnace isn't on, right? That's step one. And you're not going to get injured, but the last thing you want is a bunch of hot air blowing on you and whatnot. So the heater is on this side, and it force that air down through this pipe, and it comes up and heats the other half of the house. So let's go remove the other side. Should be the same process. Then we'll get this duct out of our way to lay out our new one. All right, as you can see, this is where the heat exits. Somebody's done some rodent barrier repair, is what we call that. That's the membrane that goes on the bottom here that holds your insulation. And that's the black fabric. This is called house wrap, Tyvek. It's not really the correct product for this situation, but it kind of works. So now let's remove this other strap and see what we got going here. So two main reasons why you would want to replace your heater crossover. One, if you got a hole in it and it's leaking air, or two, you want to upgrade it, or both. This one's got a slit in the bottom here, and it needed to be double insulated for upgrade of code. So we got both. All right, now that we got the heater crossover removed, I always like to glance up inside them, make sure I don't see anything standing out that doesn't belong there. But I'm going to pull this guy out of my way and then bring the new one this direction and then open it up and have it run back towards the crawl space entrance for ease of removal later. All right, so it's kind of a pain to do these heater crossovers because they're just so big and the crawl space isn't user friendly. Like this pipe here was not being friendly with the whole thing. So I recommend don't open it until you get underneath the house. Less likely to damage your new duct, but sometimes you do have to open it before you get under. So this is going to be our inner core. You can see it's like a flex duct. Then we got our R8 insulation, and then you got your black sleeve. It's the same process of removal. You gotta be a little more careful on install because you don't want to damage your brand new product. So go into our bag of goodies here. I'm going to get out our metal tape, the same thing that we took off of here. This is a different style of metal tape. This is more like a duct tape, easier to install. The other stuff was a paperback, more of a foil tape, but they are the same. They give you the same product here. Now you want to work that inner sleeve up as high as reasonable so you have a taping surface. And it's not going to go on super easy, which is good because you don't want it loose because that's loss of airflow. So now we're going to take this. Now we're going to put a couple screws in it to give that fastener holding, right? This did, as you saw earlier, it was holding the other duct. But this will hold the duct and seal the duct. And now we want to do, in case this were to fail for some reason, I like to put some screws in it. And you're going to screw it right where that metal band is. Like that. Not really. So that the metal band stays there. And I'm only doing 2 screws. Nobody's gonna really be reaping on this thing. So I'm looking for the metal band. Just like so. All right, so that's our inner. That's completed. Technically, it's hooked up, but now we want to make sure our insulation is nice and tight. So we're going to take this stuff. This is why you want a mask and gloves. All these little particulates that are floating in your face. I got me a zip tie. Hug our duct here. Okay. Zip tie is on there to help hold it. Some people will run screws through the outside of this to hold the zip tie up also. I don't deem that necessary, but you can if you like. I like to run duct tape around it also. Alright, that is half of the duct installed. Now we're going to crawl to the other side, stretch the duct out, and I'll show you cutting it off and hanging the other side. All right, so you want to make sure this thing is stretched out. Give it a little tug. Obviously the other side is really tight. We just installed it, so with it being machine squished, it won't come all the way out. So give it a little shake, make sure that it's loose, and you want this thing as straight as possible. So now when you're running the new one, you can straighten it out if possible. If the first one they didn't. Now we need to figure out length. It's gonna go up a little bit. So somewhere about where my hand is, looks like it should be good. So now, I'm gonna take utility knife, fresh blade. I'm gonna cut it right here. All right, so I cut through the whole plastic duct and insulation, but the inner duct has a metal wire in it, so that's what you need your snips for. I'll cut that. Get that new duct out of my way. Now we're gonna check our length. I think we're good. I'm gonna roll that outer insulation down. Get our inner duct in here. So this one will be a little bit harder to install typically because of cutting this wire. So you want this wire kind of as tight to the plastic as possible. Yeah. Now that we got the duct replaced, technically you can turn on the furnace and test it out, but I always recommend testing when you're fully completed. So the next thing we need to do, take the 2x6, put it underneath this guy, and then we're going to strap it up with our strapping tape. This stuff, which is a mesh layer. You can kind of see through it, probably not underneath here, but it's a heavy duty mesh layer that we'll tie it off with. So let me get the 2x6 underneath it. So to strap this up, I'm going to lift this board up. I think code calls for 2 inches here in the Pacific Northwest, underneath here and here. So I'm going to take our strapping tape, and you're going to use some of the steel members underneath this place to tie it up to. I'm going to go right up in this area here on the strapping tape. Lift it up, and you want to lift it a little further than what you actually need it, so you're going to compress it because you never can get it perfectly tight. I'm going to find out where it overlaps, and I'm going to cut it off. I'm just going to tie a knot in this guy. Okay, something like so. I'm gonna go to the other end, tie it up, and then you want to make sure that you tie it to the actual 2x6 also, and I'll do that in the middle in a couple spots. And because of where the duct ends, it kind of ends around the sewer line here, so there's nothing really to strap to, so we got to come back to our I-beam and strap it to that. Same thing, tuck it. make sure you got plenty to do your job. I'm gonna get my foot underneath it. I'm gonna use my foot as my leverage point to get that under there. Grab my strap. I'm gonna lift it up. Now here we got plenty of room, but because of the sewer line, we don't have plenty of room, so I can't over smash it. But as long as we get it up as high as plausible. Put it out of the way. That looks good. That works. Now we're going to grab our strapping tape. Now in 2 or 3 spots, you just want to tie it to your 2x6 so that it doesn't fall off of there for some reason. All right, that is how you change a heater crossover underneath your manufactured home. Hopefully the sound was good enough, but as always, safety first. And I only took it off to finish this video here for you. So this is a 10-inch heater crossover. It's available on our website, 12-inch also. And as you saw, I could go over exactly how to find all that information out. Unfortunately, you do have to crawl underneath your house to figure that out beforehand. But hopefully this helps you. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. Leave a comment below. Tell me, would you do this yourself, or would you pay a contractor to do it? I showed you the tools. Now it's your turn to go under there and change it out yourself. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. One thing I forgot to tell you, maybe record also, is get it in a garbage bag. Don't leave it underneath your house. Get it in a garbage bag, throw it away. One other thing, don't forget to put Ricky the Rat in here too.